right. As if one super generic movie wasn't enough. We got Shark Attack 2 now. So, we're just going right down the generic line with the most boring name for any freaking movie, honestly. Shark Attack 2. What a lame ass name. Well, let's just look at the movie. Maybe it's not that long.
So, the story does actually take place after the first movie, but no one returns. And they barely even mention the first movie at all, but they do mention it, so it's technically a sequel. But you don't need to have seen the first movie. Basically, this marine biologist gets a shark, and he's able to tranquilize it. He works for Waterworld in Africa, and the owner decides it would be great if they had a giant killer shark there. This won't go wrong at all, will it? The story is not exactly great. It's a little better than the first Shark Attacks plot, but this was just kind of generic, kind of a boring plot, and I just didn't really have much to say. I'm like, wow, it's almost like Jaws 3 now. Look, I'm not going to say it was total crap, but the plot was just nothing to write home about, and that's all I got really to say about it. It's just a generic kind of plot. It follows generic shark plot traits. Yeah. In terms of screen time for the sharks, they get a hell of a lot more than the last Shark Attack movie. It's far better, but it's still not as much as I'd like to see, but it's definitely better. They get much more than the first time around, which I'm glad. The first one was kind of boring with its big time gaps between the shark attacks. It's certainly better here when it's on screen. It's not for like a quick second. It's for usually upwards of around a minute straight, which is always great. I love to see that in a shark movie. Definitely improved. They took some notes there. When it comes to the kills, there's a lot more in this one than the first one. First one had a few, but they were barely even on screen, and they were really generic. I mean, this movie came out in the early 2000s, so it doesn't really have much of an excuse anymore to get away with generic shark kills, but it's pretty much just a retread of the first shark kills, like the first Shark Attacks kills, but there's more of them. There really is just nothing special here, like at all. There's not a single shark kill where you're like, wow, or this is funny. It's just they die, and it's like, okay. I will say, though, they kept the practical effects from the first Shark Attack, and these look better than, honestly, most CGI nowadays. So, while the shark kills may have been generic, at least they look quite good, because they don't look like that CGI crap we have nowadays. These look decent enough, and I liked it. But again, it doesn't really hide the fact that these are generic shark kills. Like, we're talking first person, going underwater, running into somebody. It could have been a hell of a lot worse, but I just was generally not impressed. The acting in this movie is not great. It's improved from the last one, which is funny because it had a lower budget, but it's not exactly better than the first one. I thought the first one was terrible in the acting skill, so this one, even though it's pretty mediocre on all levels, it's better than the first one. I mean, at least almost everyone had an accent, so it's kind of able to hide the shittier acting. Or maybe that's just me just being weird. I don't know. I just love how accents sound. I mean, I study communication, so it's probably just me. The acting was probably shit, and I just couldn't realize it. But whatever, it wasn't necessarily good. It was pretty whatever and just there, to be honest. So, wow, we're already at the overall. Again, in quick fashion. That's because I just don't really have a bunch to say about this movie. It's like, have you seen Jaws? Then you've probably seen Shark Attack and Shark Attack 2. With its pretty generic kills, nice practical effects, I might add. Pretty whatever acting, along with a pretty whatever story that's decent, I guess. I mean, it's not exactly decent, but it's better than what we got the first time around. Look, the movie is an improvement on the first Shark Attack, but I gave the first one on the Shark scale a 2 out of 5. So how much of an improvement is this really? Well, actually, I might surprise you because I'm going to have to give this movie on the Shark scale a solid 3 out of 5. Yeah, I got a 3 out of 5. It's decent. It's got good practical effects, a slightly better story, but unfortunately, like the first movie, it falls into the category of just extremely generic. And that's why overall I really just can't recommend this one. Even though it has a decent rating from me, I can't recommend it because of how generic it is. I mean, the name of the damn movie is Shark Attack 2. I mean, it's not funny or serious, it's just kind of there. Like, that's just kind of how I feel like about the whole movie. I mean, it has a competent plot, it has some nice accents, and it's got some good looking shark kills no matter how generic they are, but it's just there. I mean, it doesn't set the bar, it actually just really reinforces stereotypes about shark movies. And I mean, I wouldn't really say it's worth your time. I guess at this point it's probably a classic, but All I can say is you could do so much worse for shark movies. But if you're a sharkaholic and you love shark movies, you should probably give this one a try. Or if you have nothing else to do and have carpal tunnel like me, you should probably give this one a try. Either way, it's not great, but it's not horrible, that's for sure. So I'll see you guys on another shark review. Maybe it'll be one I can actually talk more than 5 minutes about.